We're good enough go out and get it, no more about it.
But not so much control in the centre of the field from Kilkenny as Richie Bennett sends it high and over the bar.
Your mother sends you down to the shop for a pound's worth of goods and she gives you 50 pence. You can't get the pound's worth of goods, can you?
Just about kept in. Oh, well done, Shawnee Buckley. To do that to Tommaso Shea. He deserves to score from here. One of the highlights of the Sunday game.
Limerick went out there from the word go today. No more about it. They made all the running, that was it. Put the ball over the bar and the back of it, and that's it. No ifs, no buts.
Is there much time left? We have a couple of injuries. Here comes Kieran Curry leading the charge of the right brigade. 45 metres out. He's a chance to score. He's put it high.
There's no sympathy in this game for...
Hello, and you're very welcome to Treaty Talk, episode 264 with Matt O'Callaghan and myself, Tom Clancy. Matt, of course, of the Weekly Observer and Vale Star newspapers, getting around the county in the early parts of January and indeed beyond. Matt, I was going to say a busy week. It certainly has in some regards, but Wednesday night we had the fog of Mallow and now we have the frost of Rathkeel. The Limerick Hurlers stop-start season continues, so another postponement. Disappointing for everyone that was looking forward to seeing the mighty Limerick in action again.
Very disappointing, Tom, and it's all right now if what they're forecasting for the weekend comes to pass, if we're not going to get the wind and rain for Sunday, so the elements seem to be conspiring against this game going ahead anyway, but it has thrown the Munster Senior Hurling League into a small bit of disarray at the moment, Tom, in that, when will the final be played if Limerick get through? If Cork get through, there shouldn't be any problem. But were Limerick to get through, there would be a bit of a problem in that the following week, Limerick are playing Tipperary in Thurles in the Dillon Quirk benefit game or memorial game. So that rules out the following Sunday. So whether Limerick, if they win, are going to play Sunday, Wednesday, and the following Sunday, I'm not so sure, because like UL were playing last night, and as many as about 6, I think, Limerick players started on it.
Yeah.
5 of whom are involved with John Kiley's panel. So like that there's a lot of calling on players at the moment. So look, we assume it'll go ahead on Sunday, and we saw that John Kiley made a whole raft of changes. That was to be expected because John Kiley respects the place of the Fitzgibbon Cup in the GA calendar. And we've heard that from him many times. So had the game gone ahead, we'd have seen there was 2 players named who would be making their debuts: Ronan Lyons from Monaleen and Donald Coughlin from Doon. And certainly from what I saw last year of both of those players, I think they're well worthy of their chance. Ronan Lyons has come up through the ranks, has won Munster minor medals, beaten in an All-Ireland final at under 20 level. But Donald Coughlin, 2023 was Donald Coughlin's breakthrough year, and he certainly made an impact, in my opinion. And it's great to see him getting an opportunity. I'm assuming, Tom, that John Kiley will probably name the same team again.
Yeah, I'd agree.
That he had named for to play Cork, unless something comes into it, because it would appear to me that it's nearly devoid of all Fitzgibbon Cup players. The team he had named, that he had taken that into account. But having said that, it's great to see Luke Flynn, being named for a second opportunity. And when you see the like of that, it's very, very encouraging. And like we see a small bit of the old brigade creeping back, particularly in the half-forward line. Garrod Hegarty was named as captain. David Reedy was named at centre half forward, and Conor Boylan was named on the left.
Yeah.
So we can see the lads, coming back by degrees. Cork will probably stick with the team that they had named for the game. You must remember, Tom, this is Limerick's second game of the current season. It's Cork's fourth.
Yeah.
Cork had a game with Galway in the Teddy McCarthy Cup before Christmas Memorial Tournament. Then they had a game with UCC in the annual Canon Michael O'Brien Tournament, which they lost. College won it. And then they had the game with Clare last Sunday. Now, very interestingly, looking at it, and we had very tight situations in last year's Munster Championship. I think Limerick were crowned Munster champions with something like +3 of a score difference, +2 or +3.
Yeah, I think maybe
it's
3,
very
yeah.
tight. Were it to be a draw on Sunday, the permutation is that Limerick could go through by virtue of the fact that they beat Clare 5 points and Cork only beat them by 3.
Yeah, so the tightness continues in the Munster competitions. It
does. Cork and Limerick met 3 times last year, and there was only a point in it each time.
Yeah,
in the Munster Senior League, in the National Hurling League, and in the Munster Championship. But the point was Limerick's way and the one that mattered most.
Yeah, indeed, and it ended Cork's
so
season.
That's what you're looking at. You're looking at more of the same, and Pat Ryan has the same problem with John Kiley with the Fitzgibbon Cup, because the number of the Cork panel that's involved with UCC goes into double figures. You have Owen and Rob Downey, you have Ger Melrick, you have Owen Carey, you have Shane Barrett. There's Dara Flynn. There's a whole raft of them.
Yeah.
So it's very, very hard to call. This is pre-season, but you would have to be thinking at this stage that, especially with the league and not the likelihood, but the fact that the league is going to be changing for 2025, and the importance of being in the top 3 in the league to ensure that you're in Group 1 in 2025. That possibly John Kiley and Pat Ryan were probably looking, having one eye maybe, or beginning to have one eye on the league. But I suppose when they named their side, they were anticipating that the game would go ahead on Wednesday night, and that they would have the additional game against Waterford on Sunday. But that's thrown into a certain amount of disarray now, and I have been reading bits and scraps and people anticipating as to what might happen, and were Limerick to win. If Cork win, it's clear cut. Cork and Waterford final can go ahead.
On the 28th,
there is no issue with that. It can go ahead the following week. But it's if Limerick were to win, because of their commitment to play Tipperary on the 28th in the Dylan Quirk Memorial game.
Yeah. I also think, obviously, if they're playing Waterford as well, the logistics, it's not like, a little hop over to Clare to play it midweek as well. So there's that to think of too. Where would you play it? And, basically all the, because Limerick versus Waterford, I'm saying, so that throws it into that as well. And you must remember with the Dylan Quirk thing as well, that both Limerick and Tipperary were going to wear jerseys last year in their Munster Championship game, which was then banned. So that would have been a huge fundraising drive. Presume they would have auctioned jerseys or sold special edition, and the GA put the brakes on all those sort of fundraising.
Well, I have my views on that, and I certainly wouldn't be concurring with that. When we saw we saw Cork or Tipperary wearing the special jerseys in the Munster final in 2020, and the sky didn't fall down.
No, it did not. Yeah. And Limerick indeed in the league game.
I thought that was narrow-minded in the extreme, totally uncalled for the type of decision, and I would certainly be vehemently opposed to it.
Yeah, but I suppose my point on that is that if obviously that deterred the fundraising initiative for that Munster Championship game, which would have been huge, I'm sure, given there was,
Yeah,
probably
absolutely.
30 to 40,000, and now
Absolutely. The whole Dylan Quirk thing was total tragic circumstances, especially for his family and for indeed the GA family and the GA community in Tipperary.
Yeah.
I think we should have been big enough to as an organisation to acquiesce to those requests.
Yeah, but hopefully,
as I said, it happened in 2020 in the Munster football final, and as I said, the sky did not fall in.
No, and Limerick themselves were against Tipperary in a league match in 2021. They wore a commemorative jersey as well, so it has been done many a time. But I suppose the whole thing is that hopefully this does not detract or defer fundraising efforts there, because if that game gets postponed in terms of playing it on the 28th of January, you'll be wondering where they can fit that into the schedule, with competitive games on the horizon. But look, hopefully it'll all be sorted come this Sunday afternoon when Limerick and Cork do eventually throw in for that.
Tom, I hope you're not insinuating that Cork will win, that will solve it.
No. They'll start the fixtures.
I hope come 3:30 on Sunday evening that there'll be a problem.
Yes, absolutely. Well, hopefully. But anyway, that's enough on that. But yeah, the team, just for my own 2 cents on the team, Donald Coughlin is one, and Luke Flynn actually named at 13 and 14. 2 men that were not standout minors and in the Keane Lynch mould for Limerick, not standout 20s, even though Donald Coughlin is still eligible for the 20s. I think it shows, that it's never too late for these guys. Well, eventually it becomes too late, but as in, in your early 20s, that the ship definitely not a sail. Like Donald Coughlin, I think, was only on an extended minor panel, kind of outside on the periphery, if my memory serves me correctly. Has had a great season for Doon, breakthrough season, you described it, and now he gets his opportunity. So I think, that's great to see for players, youngsters around the county, that the door will not be shut. And we've seen this before with Aaron Gillan, not exactly, the standout minor. It was obviously Clubmate Keane Lynch who was that, but Aaron Gillan, what's he now? Reigning hurler of the year. So, you don't have to peak at say 17 or 18,
Tom, that's a point very, very well made. And look, Flynn and Donald Coughlin are classic examples of that. And I've seen both of them at first hand during the year, and I'm absolutely delighted for both of them, because as you said, it means that you don't have to come through the underage ranks to break through at senior level. These are 2 very, very good hurlers. Now, I know Ronan Lyons is coming through and has been so promising all the time as a minor and as an under-20 player, outstanding underage player. But the story with Donald Coughlin and Luke Flynn is it's totally different, and it's so admirable, that a lot of fellas, like at underage level, if they don't make the breakthrough, they hang their heads and sort of wallow in it. But these guys have taken the attitude, look, we'll prove you wrong someday, and they're doing it.
Yeah, and hopefully for them, they keep their place in the 15. When John Kiley confirms that for us, probably won't see it till Sunday, but hopefully they keep their starting berths and see can they make a mark in the Limerick forward unit. Matt, just switching now to the Harty Cup quickly upon us. I was shocked when I heard the dates. So these is actually this Saturday, January 20th. 2 semi-finals, both being played in Limerick, both with Limerick involvement as well. Turles CBS versus Ardscalrish in Kilmallock. That is penciled in for 12:30 throw-in. And Nina and Charleville at 2 p.m. in Cappamore. We will know who will contest the final when by the time Saturday afternoon comes away. I suppose the question is, will we have Limerick involvement? And I say that because, of course, we've mentioned plenty of times now, Charleville has plenty of Limerick involvement, and naturally enough, Ardscalrish has bucket loads of it as well. So wonder what way it will lie come Saturday afternoon.
I should look. It's very, very hard to know. I suppose from the outset, if you look at the squads, Ardscalrish, they have a stellar squad by any stretch of the imagination. If you take the Limerick players alone that are on it, the lad O'Keefe, the cornerback from the PSG, played minor with Limerick. Sean Morrissey played minor with Limerick. Fintan Fitzgerald played minor with Limerick. And then you have Shane Scully, is another player who played an excellent county final with Drummond at Lacka last year. And of course, in goals, you have Fionn O'Brien, who was the Limerick minor goalkeeper 2 years ago. And is the son of John O'Brien, who played in goals, and a grandson of the great Jim O'Brien.
O'Brien, yeah.
That won an All-Ireland medal in 1973. So he didn't pick it up off the road. So from a Limerick point of view, you have a very strong representation. That's not to mention the representation that's from Clare. All-Ireland winners, Matthew O'Halloran, Mark O'Brien, Michael Collins, Owen Begley, Owen Carey, you can name it. It's an absolutely, Jamie Moylan, a very, very, very strong side. Yeah. So now, obviously, Thurles come with credentials. I'm not sure of the makeup of the Thurles team, but in the last number of years, Tom, there's no such thing as a bad Thurles CBS team. And they're there on merit. And they were sort of outsiders in the quarterfinal when they faced St. Flannan's, because St. Flannan's and Ardscoil Reach had a very close game in the opening round of the group stages, and Thurles were convincing winners over St. Flannan's. So, I think it's all set up for a very, very good game, Tom.
Yeah,
and it's one of those games that is going to be very hard to call. Now, having said that, I think that Ardscoil Reach will derive considerable benefit from the close game that they got. They were really tested by John the Baptist. Now, people can say, right, they were 4 or 5 points up for most of it. Then John the Baptist got a run, brought it down to a point with 8 minutes to go. But that shows the sign of the character and the quality that's in the Ardscoil Reach team, that when they were on the rack for a bit, they were able to get out of it and go on and win the hurling match. And for the most of that game, John the Baptist brought a level of work rate and intensity, which probably that Ardscoil Reach hadn't expected, I'd say, for the most part, and maybe hadn't met in the competition up to now. So they got a right good grueling at the right time. So I think, and looking at it, Ardscoil Reach, Tom, is a stellar cast. There's no other way of saying it. I'll be surprised if they win, but I just don't discount Thurles for 1 minute.
Yeah, the only team I'd seen in the flesh of these 4 is actually Thurles CBS, and I can tell you they're no mugs. They're well coached. They're good spread of talent. Not relying on one individual. And now, if I was to name one individual to watch out for, Ewan Murray, he was 15 when I saw him, which was in November. Now he subsequently may have ticked over to 16, but he was playing at midfield, Matt. It wasn't a case of put the 15-year-old in the corner and see what he can do. He was playing midfield and dictating things against St. Joseph Tulla the day I saw them out in Newell. So good spread of talent around there, good free taker. His name is just escaping me now, Fitzpatrick, and good spread of clubs involved there, as people would know on their approach to Thurles itself. Plenty of clubs on the hinterland there, and a lot of those clubs will feed in. Obviously, within Thurles itself, you'll have Thurles Sarsfields, Durlas Og as well, if the players are still too young. Holy Cross, Ballycal, Rossgrave, even, I think, involved in this occasion. So good spread of clubs there, a bit like Ardscoil Reach, and obviously, an attractive school in terms of going to play hurling. So they certainly promote it from day dot. So yeah, that makes for a good one, Matt. The other one in Cappamore, slightly later, throwing time of 2 p.m. We have some Limerick involvement with Charleville CBS. They face what so far, I believe, an unbeaten Nina CBS side. So what do we know about this one?
Well, what I can tell you, if I can give you a clear guide of what I know about it, is that they met in the group stages.
Yes.
And Nina won 112 to 1-8 in Mealig. So that would suggest that there's very little between the teams. But quite obviously, since Nina got direct to the quarter-final. Charleville had to go the scenic route of the preliminary quarter-final. And what a scalp they claimed in that preliminary quarter-final when they saw off the challenge of the holders Cashel Community School. And then they went into the quarter-final proper against what was expected to be a very, very accomplished Middleton team, and included 4 or 5 or 6 of the Cork minor panel of last year. And they made easy work of them. No, I think they won by 5 or 6 points in the end, but they were out of sight when Middleton got a couple of late face-saving goals. So it would look to me from what that more than anybody of the 4, Charleville have grown into the competition and have shown measurable improvement as the competition has gone along. They haven't been in the final since 2011. And prior to that, they weren't in the final since 1938. And I'd say, I don't think you were around, Tom, were you?
No, just before me, my time.
Yeah, as Jack, you say, I was away that day, But yeah, that's it. And of course, when they got to the semi-final, or got to the final in 2011, their star performer was one David Reedy.
Did he ever amount to much, Matt?
who well, he has 6 Munster medals and 5 All-Ireland medals to show for his efforts since, And he was actually playing at centre half back.
Yeah,
he was outstanding. Now there are a number of players with Charleville who are from the Limerick side of the border. As you know, Charleville very much on the Cork-Limerick border, and I've mentioned their names last week. I'm not going to go through it again, but there's 6 of them. And they're drawn from Granaballangary, Brewery, and Castletown Ballygran. But Charleville, the main part of the Charleville squad is drawn from a hotbed of clubs in North Cork, and they're really hotbed because you have Newtown, Shandrum. Do we need to say any more about those? Charleville, Ballyhay, Dromina, bastions of hurling. So I don't think they're to be discounted. And of course, they will be shot no motivation going into this game, seeing that they lost to them in the first round. And it was a close call. So this is going to be a very, very, very interesting game. Now, Nina are unbeaten. They haven't reached the final since 2012, was the last time they were in the final. And the expectation is that they will be favourites. But I think they'll ignore the challenge of Charleville at their peril. But they have been forewarned.
Yeah. And in fairness, Nina CBS, I think they beat CBC of Cork very convincingly.
Very convincingly in the quarter-final. That was a very impressive performance. 2-16 to 6 points, I think.
Yeah,
was played in Bancha. And that was a very, very, very impressive performance, which would suggest that they have grown into the competition as well. But, CBC... they really made a go of it there for a couple of years, but you see, they're juggling all the time with rugby and GAA.
Yeah, and they were involved in the football Corny I think, as well. So
for instance, here with Daly now, who plays with Waterford, even though he's from Lismore, went to CBC, and played with CBC, and hopefully will be playing with UCC in the coming weeks, but. They had a really good team, and Guy Heffernan played with him, and Fionn Heffernan, they all played with CBC. Like Dahi, they kept in goals for Limerick and from Blackrock, and who's coming back to Blackrock the coming year,
Yeah.
With his brother. So, they had a real strong team in those days, and I'm not so sure that they're as strong now. I think they're not, actually, but then, didn't they beat St. Coleman's in the preliminary quarter-final?
Yeah.
So,
it seems to be a strong Nina team. So Charleville, as they know from the group game, as you mentioned, they'll have their work cut out. But
they're 2 fascinating games, Tom. But at the risk of being killed, I call it Ardskull and Nina.
Right. Well,
Because that's what you were edging for, to put my head in the block anyway. So
no.
second guess
Well,
you, Tom.
yeah. Well, if they want to kill you, they'll know where to find us. But we shall see. Predictions often at those grades, very, very hard to make. And a lot of it more or less down to how the youngsters can handle the day. So hopefully 2 enthralling games on offer on Limerick soil this coming Saturday. Matt, before we moved, you mentioned college stuff there. Before we moved to the third level side of things, I was mentioning something happening locally. You can see there on your screen now. The St. Kierans GA pitch development, they are hosting the championship preview night with none other than Gareth Spillane, TJ Ryan, the MC, and you can see there a stellar cast with Brendan Maher, Richie Bennis, Aisling Connolly, Tom Condon, Mark Landers, and Anthony Daly among their guests. So early in the year for it, but certainly will whet the appetite for the league and indeed championship ahead later in the year. And Matt, some people different parts of the county might be saying, "Geez, St. Kieran's, are they not a football stronghold?" But I can tell you, they absolutely love the small ball out there as well, don't they?
Oh, absolutely! Like they won the county junior championship in 2022, and you know they weren't lost in the intermediate championship last year. You know, and like St. Kieran's, and they won the county senior football league last year, but they were dogged. They were dogged after that by injuries to key players, and I'm talking about John Hayes and Dara Tracy in particular. Like, and when you have 2 players of those caliber and you're suddenly without him because of injury, like, you know, but they have fantastic plans and they're doing a fantastic development out in that club. You know, it's a fantastic club. Back in 1985, they completed a county double. I think it was intermediate football and junior hurling or the other way around, which was a unique double. Now, Jim Wolfe, later to become CEO of Dairy Gold, and now retired, of course, but very, very, very much working behind the scenes with Limerick. He was on both teams. He captained the hurling team. But the club is an absolutely fantastic club. I was back there with them in 2022. I saw, you know, the plans that they had laid out, and they're absolutely fantastic. Now, it's an early season warm-up for the championship, Tom, but when you're saying it's a bit early, the championship is in April. This is the second half of January.
Yeah.
It's not that far away. And I spoke about the stellar cast that Ardskull Reach have. Well, no, certainly they have assembled a stellar cast because they have the 3 main participants of the Dalo's very popular podcast, hurling podcast, Anthony Daly, Mark Landers, and TJ Ryan, who will be trying to keep them apart. And then add Tom Condon. Who will we ever forget Tom Condon in 2018? Aisling Connolly, of course, who's the wife of Conor Fitzgerald of the Woodlands, and is a 2-time All-Star with Galway, and an RTE pundit. You have Richie Bennis, who is a link to the 1973 team, and you have Brendan Maher, who was an outstanding player with Tipperary.
Yeah.
If they don't know their onions as it is, Tom, if they don't know the championship, you know, there's a poor lookout for the rest of us.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but I can tell you.
Look, you can be sure that the proceeds of this, Tom, will be put to very, very good use. It's for the development that they are carrying out in St. Kieran's, a fantastic club back in West Limerick, basically mainly a rural club, you know, and St. Kieran's are classical of the clubs, you know, that are the pulse of our association. Absolutely a fantastic club. Great people working in the club. And as you can see, they're juggling between hurling and football. And, Tom, they have the record of never having been relegated from senior ranks.
Is that so?
In football.
Yeah, that's some going, considering there's only 12 teams in it, and invariably the trap door will open for you eventually, as so many found out.
Now, I've seen them come near it. Relegation semi-finals, even a relegation final against Hospital Herberstown one year, but they survived. Yeah,
well, you might, Matt, on the 18th of January or 19th of January, as we're talking, you might have just put the curse on them now. And
No, Tom. I'm quite confident that they'll survive in the Senior Football Championship.
that's it. Yeah. No, in fairness, but I concur there, Matt.
No, but I can't stress. They what they're doing in the club, fantastic club, both in hurling and football, and like they're putting on a fantastic show on Saturday night. Trust me, I was at one of those shows last year. They are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're looking for entertainment, these three boys with Dalo is entertainment in himself, and Mark Landers, when they get going, and TJ Ryan, and throw in the other three who will keep normality.
That's it, yeah.
It's a fantastic show, and for 25 quid, it's a fantastic night, and I would appeal to people, to turn up and show their support for St. Kierans and the great work that they're doing, and the contribution, by the way, that they're making to their county as well.
Definitely, yeah. And I suppose that I'm delighted to see a reinvestment in facilities, because at times, Matt, maybe more so in private, we've been on facilities around the council, around the county, and even beyond when we're in other different places. We said, geez, that could be improved upon, and well, here's a club taking the steps towards that. So great to see. Better pitches will only lead to bigger and better things, I'm sure, for clubs involved.
And there will I mention in that we have a Galway input, we have a Tipperary input, we have a Cork input, we have a Clare input. We'll get an insight about a little thing called 5 in a row, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. Although I think they'll be all putting the brakes on it there. Yeah, but look, just to give the final plug, this coming Saturday, 20th of January, 8 p.m. in the Long Court House Hotel, which is, of course, the hotel as you arrive towards Newcastle West. Very easy accessed from all sides of the county, really. And I'm sure you won't be disappointed with an evening's entertainment. And it'll certainly get you in the mood for the National League. And indeed, as Matt says, the bid for 5 in a row as it'll commence really in the next few weeks. Matt, we'll move now to third level. And the Fitzgibbon Cup got off to a stuttering start this weekend. The weather again wreaking havoc on fixtures, but in terms of UL involvement, or Limerick involvement, I should say, Mary I's game in Maynooth was off due to a frozen pitch on I think it was a Tuesday or Wednesday evening. But UL took to the field in Galway against ATU Galway, formerly I suppose GMIT, for those who may have been around when it was that. UL, Matt, 325 they put on the board, convincing winners, and all you need to do really is look at the squad and say these boys are going to go far again to defending that title.
Oh, absolutely, and I think looking at it, was it 6 Limerick lads that started? And nearly all of them got. Conor Handy Clark started in goals. He got on the score sheet even.
Yeah.
With a long range free. Fergal O'Connor was there. The 2 midfielders were from Limerick, Brian O'Grady and Colin Coughlin, who is the team vice captain actually this year.
Yeah.
And up in the forwards, you had Paddy Donovan and Adam English, who was the team's leading scorer with 1-4.
Yeah, all from play as well.
All from play, who outscored the marksman Garrod O'Connor, who plays senior with Tipperary. So, like, from a Limerick point of view, it has been very, very, very encouraging. Now, both Colin Coughlin and Brian O'Grady each scored 3 points from play.
Yeah. Impressive stuff.
Paddy Donovan got a couple of points. So, as I said, Conor Handy got a long range free.
Yeah.
And from a Limerick point of view, it virtually ensures, I think it absolutely ensures that UL are in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, barring
because their next game is next week. It's a home game with it's a Limerick derby.
Yeah, against Toos, who are idle. It's groups of 3 for anyone not sure the format. Groups of 3, as Matt says, the win there for UL puts them in a very good position to progress, almost certainly, given the margin of that victory as well. And it would take a mad set of results for them not to make it through. But if they beat TUS Midwest or LIT to those who maybe attended it when it was that, a win there will win them the group and give them a home quarter-final. So that's what they'll be looking to do next Wednesday evening, isn't it? So, it's a really strong looking UL team. You'd be hard pressed to back against them in any game or need to for going all the way. But just looking elsewhere in the competition, Matt, obviously the Mary I game postponed, so they'll start next week, I should say.
Next Wednesday, Tom, they're playing UCC, so
yeah, it's
a game I hope to attend. UCC neither of them have played a game now, so it'll be very, very interesting. Now there are a number of players involved with Mary I for Limerick, including Shane O'Brien, a number of Limerick players. As I say, UCC have somewhere, I'd say it runs into double figures, the number of players of the Cork panel that are on the team. So they will come with a very, very strong team. They also have Eddie Stokes from Doon and Earlet Daly from Waterford, Dara Stakeland from Tipperary. And they will be a strong side, but they had a strong side last year, and they failed to get through to the final. So it'll be a very, very interesting game because Maynooth are the third team in it, and when Maynooth first came into this competition, they were finding it hard to find their feet in the Fitzgibbon Cup. But by God, over the last number of years, they are finding their feet because they have a huge influx of players from Kilkenny and Wexford. But the one at the moment that we're concerned about, of course, is UCC's visit to Mary Immaculate College. I'm sure, Tom, that game is going to be in the afternoon, is it?
Yeah, well, it's on the master fixtures like all the games at 7 p.m. But I can tell you it won't be played in Mary I at 7 p.m. They don't have the floodlights for it, so it'll be more likely 2 p.m. next Wednesday in Mary I. I would say so. Mary I will not be in the interest of giving up home advantage, so I'd say that's where the fixture will land, and obviously their refixture with Maynooth will have to be sorted as well in the coming, I suppose, days. And
because UCC do have floodlights if they had to concede home venue,
Yeah. But I can tell you, in a group of three, when you only have two games, I think Jamie Wall would be wise to move.
There's no question of it. But it's we're at a loss as we speak here as to what time it will be on. But the pointers are for 2:00 on Wednesday, aren't they?
Yeah, invariably, yeah. But be interesting to see how the next generation of Mary I talents. We've seen so many of the Limerick stars go through there, so it'll be interesting to see what Jamie Wall and Co can muster with the group to them. Obviously, their male student population is, incredibly low when compared to UL, UCC, or any of the other colleges, really. But they seem to churn out a fair hurler or two in their time. So, yeah, that's next Wednesday. Double header in Limerick, 1 at 2 p.m. we think, and the other at 7 p.m. in UL. And effectively, these games are free. So,
I would argue over the last couple of years that the underachievers in the competition have been UCC, because they had a star-studded squad last year, got knocked out in the semi-final above, and some venue in North Clare escapes me at the moment. But they have so many Cork players on their side. You've Brian Saunderson, who's named as the Cork goalkeeper for the Limerick match. He's from Middleton, and you have the Downey brothers, Owen and Rob. You've Jerry Millrich, Shane Barrett. There's a rake of them there, and Rob Cotter is there, he's a new emerging player in Cork. So they look very strong, but look, I don't think they translated the strength that they had on the team list last year, on the team squad last year. I don't think they translated it onto the field. I think Mary I could be in with a chance of taking him, but you've Brian Hayes there as well. You've Cormac O'Brien. They're all in the frame for the Cork senior team. Cathal McCafferty. I don't know.
Yeah. As we know, the Cork senior team is not firing on all cylinders, so maybe that's reflected down the grades. But anyway, we should see what they conjure up next Wednesday in Limerick. Matt, looking back at club action, the first, I suppose, club real involvement of 2024 is kind of a hangover from 2023. Monaleen will take on Wolf Tones in the Munster Junior B Series. Obviously, this is second string sides for both. Wolf Tones, of course, of Shannon and County Clare. and Monaleen were winners of that Limerick Junior B title. I think it was as far back as I think the second week of November. So,
do you want to be reminded who they beat in the final, Tom?
I'm not sure. It was another city club, Ballybrown. Yeah, beat Ballybrown by I think was another 2 points in the end. Deserving winners on the day, and they'll be back up Junior A. But before they attack the Junior A championship, they'll obviously hope to do what Bruff did and get through a round or two or beyond of the Junior B series, which of course is held in Ryan and Limerick.
Yeah, sure. Monaleen were involved in the Munster and All Ireland Intermediate Championship last year, and they liked the way it worked out. Yeah. So, they're going to give this a right go because they were relegated from Junior A in 2022. Yeah. Bounce back at
21, I think. Yeah, 21. It was Ballybrown went down in 22 and was effectively.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So
but Monaleen are back up again now. But
yeah.
They came through a tough Limerick championship. There's no doubt about it. It's a long, grueling championship between 4 or 5 games in the city, and then you have to win 3 games in the county, because when you come out of your division, you've only qualified for the quarter final, no more. So they've come through a tough campaign, and they're obviously battle hardened, and there's elements within the club that now know what it takes to win a Munster Championship and an All-Ireland Championship. And we saw last year that their predecessors, Bruff, won the Munster Championship and came also close to winning the All-Ireland. So, it's a fantastic competition down there in Killeedy, and it has stood the test of time. It's running since 2005. And actually, we have had only one Limerick All-Ireland winner. We've had a number of Munster winners like Brewery, Radkeel, Cappamore, Temple Danton. Forgive me if I'm letting anybody out, Bruff, but we've had only one All-Ireland winner, and that was Doon. They were beaten in the Munster final. But the system in Killeedy is that you have your Munster and your Leinster Championship, and the finalists in both Munster and Leinster go through to the All-Ireland semi-finals, where they're crossed. The winners in Munster play the runners-up in Leinster and vice versa. So that's how Doon got back into it and won it. So they to this day are the only Limerick team that have won it, but a couple of teams have gone very, very close. Radkeel in particular, I think they were beaten in a replay. So it's a fantastic competition. So now Wolf Tones come in to the game on Saturday. It's on Saturday at 12 o'clock. They come into the game with the advantage of having played a game before Christmas. Now, they beat Inagh Kilnamona in the Clare final, but they came in with the advantage of beating Rathmore in the quarter final. So that may stand to them, but they've had the Christmas festivities in the meantime, and that might negate that advantage. But it is a slight advantage to have played a game in the competition. But I'm sure Mungret will be up for it. And as far as I know, the Mungret team includes, the Monaleen team includes the evergreen Damien Cosgrave. So, we wish Monaleen the very best of luck. And just talking of the Cosgraves, we'd like to pass our sincere sympathy to the Cosgrave family on the passing of Timmy Cosgrave, who is the father of Andrew Latouche Cosgrave, who was an All-Ireland medal winner with Limerick in 2018. Timmy Cosgrave was one of Limerick's greatest supporters, not just through the good times, but through the bad times as well. And, it must have been such a pleasure for him when Andrew won the All-Ireland medal, and a pleasure for him to see, that he saw Limerick winning 4 in a row. And sadly, he will not be with us for the 5 in a row, but sincere sympathy to the Cosgrave family.
Yeah, absolutely, and all connected in Monaleen GA as well. So very sad loss there indeed, and we wish them the best on Saturday afternoon, 12 p.m. Midday. So Pistols at dawn, not quite, but Pistols at noon themselves, Limerick and Clare. I suppose it's the first of many, or not the first of many, but it's one of many Limerick Clare battles this year, and hopefully on the club front, Monaleen can get Limerick up and running in that.
Well, we had a very good little start to that little rivalry when we beat them in the Munster Senior League in Clarecastle.
Yeah,
You know,
early small steps.
Let's hope that's an omen of what's going to be happening for this year.
Yeah, and maybe one lane can make it 2 for 2 over our friends there just over the road. Football, Matt, speaking of over the road, I was over the road last Sunday. I was up the road in Mine Temple 2. Fabulous setup, lovely ground, lovely stand. It was nice and sheltered from the elements, but unfortunately, I was scratching my eyes a little bit. Another disappointing afternoon for the Limerick footballers. It took a late goal really for Tipperary to swing the tide their way. But in fairness to them, they were probably the better side on the day. And confidence is a big thing in sport. And I think losing games is not going to do Limerick footballers any good. But it is early in the season as well. I must caveat that as well. So.
It is, Tom. It's disappointing, but I suppose no more disappointing than previous McGrath Cup campaigns, apart from 2020 when we won it and beat Cork in the final in the Gaelic grounds. It's disappointing. I'm disappointed for Jimmy Lee because it's his first season in charge, and he hasn't been handed a great deck of cards in the sense that there's 17 players that were available at the end of the championship last year who are not, for various reasons, available this year.
He tells me it's now 19, Matt. I'm not sure who the additional 2 are, but it's now up as far as 19.
Yeah, they are probably injuries now, because a lot of those were injuries. But you're the like of, as I said last week, you're the like of Cian Sheehan, Brian Fanning, Adrian Enright, Brian Donovan. They're all in Australia. So and are a huge loss. And then you had particularly for the Kerry game, you had a list of injuries the length of your hand. But I thought the injuries had eased a small bit against Tipperary, and that Conor McSweeney was back, Ian Corbett was back, James Norton and Peter Case Peter Nash all played. So I was coming to the conclusion that maybe things are coming back and that players are coming back, because you must remember that Antrim are in Mick Neville Park next Sunday week, the first round of the league.
Yeah, Sunday the 28th of January. Yeah, it's going to be on us before we know it, isn't it?
We've seen with the league in the past the importance of a good start, the importance of making home advantage count. Now, Limerick were relegated last year. I know I'll be talking about it in greater depth next week, but it's Antrim are going to provide a tough test, Tom.
Yeah.
Always do very, very little between Limerick and Antrim in the past. And but I think Jimmy Lee will probably be disappointed, but he will be hoping that the injury list will have shortened, and he will also be hoping that the raft of new players that he has exposed into county senior football, for the first time, that some will have done enough, and convinced him enough that they are fit, to plug the gaps, as it were, in the starting team to play Antrim. So, and speaking to Jimmy after the Wexford game or after the Kerry game, like he was adamant, like that at the end of the day, it's all about Antrim, the first game of the league and Antrim, and all you can hope for is, that he'll get the result that he needs, because after Antrim, there's a very, very tricky trip to Down on the Saturday evening. It's a quick turnaround of 6 days. So, we don't want a repeat of last year. Away to Derry in the first round, home to Dublin in the second round in Division 2. You need, in your first 2 games, you need to get points on the board. Down will probably be the most difficult team in the group. We're away to Down. They were beaten in the Talton Cup final last year. They demolished Laois, who beat us in the Talton Cup. So they are very, very formidable. So Jimmy will have all this factored in, and he will be hoping that that things will start to come together. And he's had 2 opportunities to see the new faces, and because new faces are going to be needed, Tom.
Definitely, yeah.
I expect that we're going to have potentially 4 debutants when the team is named next week to play Antrim.
Yeah, could be higher now as well. Could be higher than that.
It could.
Yeah,
it could possibly.
4 league debutants, we must stress, not
4 league debutants. 4 league debutants.
Played in recent weeks, maybe.
Not full debutants, 4 league debutants, but so
tested the real stuff. Yeah.
Look, it's boring enough, Tom.
Yeah, the big concern for me, and I mentioned the word confidence at the start, and look, I know people will say different manager, different coaching ticket, different players involved, but the core part of the group is still the same. But Limerick have only won a game against Waterford in the McGrath Cup at the very start of last year. They drew 1 league game. They won their first 2 Tailteann Cup group games, having also lost in the Clare narrowly enough, in fairness, in the Munster Championship. They won the first 2 games in the Tailteann Cup, subsequently lost to Wicklow in a dead rubber, and then lost, in fairness, heartbreaking circumstances to Laois, when I thought they probably played some of their best stuff all year. And now they're after losing 2 more games. So there's been a lot of L's in the column there beside their names. It can't be good for confidence. And look, maybe the step down in division might say, this is probably our level. Guys will probably, be more for it. But I just wonder where things are, in terms of real belief in a tight game, the real belief in the group. Where is it to get over the line? And I'd say a lot of these league games, Matt, will be kicking the ball stuff. Like there'll be, 3-2
you're
at
right,
one point.
Tom. The team that got promotion to Division 2 was a team laced with character, and you're hitting the nail on the head there, because it was that ability to win close games and close out close games that saw them being promoted from Division 3 to Division 2. Now you have lost some very, very big personalities, which I named out at the very beginning, who are a huge loss. And the unfortunate thing is that there's, or maybe it's fortunate in that they were spread in different positions on the field, But look, hope springs eternal, Tom. I think we have to give Jimmy Lee an opportunity. Like, he didn't see his team play for the first time until 2 weeks ago when they played Kerry. And Kerry was the wrong game, in an opening round. It certainly wasn't a barometer of where you were at, No. But bit worried now that they were beaten by Tipperary. But again, it comes with the caveat and the health warning that it was a dead rubber game. You had 4 players coming back from injury. Let's hope that they'll benefit from it. You had new players that got a second run over the 2 games. So, Jimmy probably, he has in mind the way he wants his team to set out, the way he wants his team to play. It'll be a question now of filling in the dots, as it were, getting the people that can play that. And I'm still quite hopeful, because, Jimmy and his management team haven't had an opportunity to put their stamp on the panel yet, because I would honestly say that they don't know exactly what their final panel is even at this stage.
Oh, no,
so that is something that they will be mulling over, probably maybe as we speak even, that they'll be mulling over from since last Sunday, just to get the squad together and see, and I'm hopeful, Tom.
Yeah. Oh, as too am I, but it's just...
but you mentioned something there, and I think it was a turning point. I don't know, I might, we seem to have recovered from the poor league campaign when we entered the Tailteann Cup and got those wins over Longford and Carlow, convincing wins now.
Yeah, good wins now against
and
teams.
And then to fall to Wicklow in a dead rubber game. It wasn't just falling, because Wicklow had nothing to play for, but Limerick had everything to play for, to build up momentum going into the Tailteann Cup. And I think, whatever went wrong on that day, it carried over in the game against Laois, because Laois got absolutely hockeyed by Down.
Yeah,
But the
subsequent.
difference between Laois beating Limerick and losing to Down was Limerick created the same number of goal chances but didn't take them.
Yeah.
Down created the goal chances and took every one of them.
Yeah, didn't Down score 7 goals or something? Limerick could have had
goals,
6
yeah.
7, yeah. Which
And we could have had 7.
yeah, and that was it. And it ended up that one mistake led to a goal for Laois, which was the ultimate winning of the game. But anyway, I suppose Jimmy will be looking at that as saying water under the bridge, and he'll be hoping to lift them again for Antrim on Sunday week. So Matt,
the chapter is closed in 2023.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see now what they can muster against Antrim in McNeville Park. Sigerson, Matt, we mentioned last week, first round, convincing winners in the first round, but they did do it the hard way this time around. Just missing the result, 8 points to 7.
8 points to 7 against Maynooth.
Yeah, 1 point win on, I suppose, a bitterly cold evening. They managed to dig it out. Eli Reardon of Father Casey's involved in the last 15 minutes. Good to see him trusted when the game was definitely in the melting pot. Started last week, involved again this week. Good prospect is Eli as well. But UL march on to the into the quarterfinals.
They're into the quarterfinal, and they're on merit, no question about it. A huge win over ATU Donegal, who have since been knocked out of the championship by MTU Cork, because they've suffered a second defeat. But Maynooth again, like would have access to players, from very strong football counties, and Maynooth is a growing college, so like Maynooth, was for a certain while there, as I mentioned in the Fitzgibbon and the Sigerson Cup was being dismissed with, but that's a thing in the past, And when you went up there and got that result, it was a very, very good result. And I think they'll have to wait a week now, because the losers, actually, Maynooth are not out.
Yeah, they're playing the winners of the losers.
They're playing the winners of those that were in the losers group.
Yeah. So
exactly. That will be taking place next week. So UL will probably not be in action again, maybe until early February.
Maybe the last day or so of March or January.
Maybe
the very last day or two. Yeah, the 31st of January is probably that week anyway. The Wednesday the 31st, either side of that maybe. So they'll wait and see who progresses. But they've done their business well so far, and I suppose they'll be looking at it as 2 notches on the belt, and a couple more now to go to get back to that final and try and get it over the line. So. Yeah, well done to them on that one. We were talking about Junior B hurling. We're now.
No, but before we go from the Sigerson, I would just like to remind you that the holders scored 921 last night.
Who would that be now? Would that be the college you went to a couple of years ago, Matt? Is it? We can't remember the
name of them.
Yeah, Grant. We'll find out by next week who they are.
They're managed by Billy Morgan.
Yeah, UCC 921. It must be nearly some sort of a record. I wonder, is it? It's quite the score, in fairness, in football. But I think they'll have tougher tests ahead, I'm sure. But
I think they will. I saw them in the first round against UUJ, and as I said last week, and I see people up on social media lost the first game last year and came back and win it. I'm not so sure it's going to happen this year. Yeah. I hope it'll happen, but I can't see it happening. Yeah,
Matt, of course, with his strong allegiance to UCC, can't cut ties anyway. But Matt, I was just moving on towards the Junior B football. The famed competition in Knockadderry, you were telling me it actually has to move venue this year, but Ballylanders will be representing Limerick in it. They're playing Shannon Gales, who are of West Clare descent. The match has now been played in Paddy Carroll Park in Ballyagrán, with significant works underway in Knockadderry for their grounds. So we wish them the best with their works out there, and hopefully the weather will be kind, and all the rest of it, they can get that done, and I'm sure the Junior B competition will be back before long. But Paddy Carroll Park, I'm sure gleefully, and say in fairness, since its redevelopment, Matt, they have welcomed every game imaginable. They've welcomed under-21s finals, they've welcomed underage games, Camogie finals, senior hurling, senior football, you name it. They are
And
welcome.
will we ever forget the intermediate final there?
Yeah, I can tell you, I have never seen an operation like it for a club game in a little village like that.
Absolutely incredible. And whatever is in the pitch, it generates an atmosphere that is second to none, you know. And
lovely stand and surrounds.
That you and I were on commentary that day, and it was just such a memorable day and such a memorable occasion to be part of.
Yeah,
you know, and it was fantastic pitch. But full credit to Knockadary, Tom, because they're doing. I mentioned St. Kierans a while ago, and they're doing fantastic development. And it was in its infancy when the tournament was on last year. And when I was down there, they were explaining it to me that they were just waiting for the tournament to be completed to get the works underway. And they must be in an advanced stage now at this stage, but probably not enough to facilitate the holding of the tournament this year. So it's on in Paddy Carroll Park. Shannon Rovers are not from West Clare, Tom, unless they move in the last 24 hours.
Shannon Rovers. I had Shannon Gales. Sorry, I thought Shannon Gales, which is West Clare.
They're the Tipperary champions.
Apologies.
So Bally are playing it. Obviously, it is my own club. I have a special interest in it. Like Bally have been involved in Munster Championship on 3 occasions before at senior level. And, you know, they will fancy their chances. They had a very good county championship last year. And the league, the way it was structured, they won the A League, this team did.
Yeah. And
then they won the Junior B county. Now, they didn't win the Junior B South. They were beaten by a point by Brewery. But they came back and beat Brewery in the county final. Now, they were also beaten in the under 21A final by Ula after on a penalty shootout, you know, which will give you an idea that there is a pool of players in Bally, and like there are 4 or 5 players there that in that Bally squad that have been involved in the Munster Club Championship at senior level, you know, and of course, you know, the famous Kieran O'Callaghan being one of those, Calla, as he's known to all and sundry.
I might have had a Junior A League medal if it wasn't for him in the semi-final. He nearly beat us by himself. He was taking points from the car park.
Tom, you're not unique in that, and that's a story that's replicated across the county. You know,
he did the same in the final, sure.
That's why I say evergreen, and you've Shane and Pa Fox and Jerry Hearn who have been through it all before as well. So they will know a good bit about about Munster Championship. And they face a Shannon Rovers team who had, you know, very, very close call, particularly in the county final. They won it by a point against Clonmel Commercials. They won the semi-final against Galtee Rovers, I think, by 2 points. Now, their big name player, of course, is George Hannigan, who for 10 years was on the Tipperary senior team and was on the Tipperary team that were beaten in the All-Ireland semi-final by Mayo. So he will be a big player that will need, you know, he will need to be policed when you have a player of that caliber playing at this level. So they can let Kieran O'Callaghan loose, you know. But look, I'm not being parochial here now, but I've seen Bally. I've seen him a couple of times, and I've seen him in both finals. And you know that there's a steelness about him, and you know I'd be hoping that Bally will get through.
Yeah. And Matt, you listed off all the junior successes in the hurling Junior B. Who's the Limerick team that won the football?
In
Munster Junior B football. Any Limerick successes there down the years now that you can recall?
Oh, we have. Oh God, why didn't I keep my big mouth shut? Mike Mann guided a team to beat. Was it Kerry's Drumo or Croman?
Yes, yeah. Lawn Rangers, I think, if there was that name as well. Yeah. And unfortunately, late Shane Kenny got the goal on the day. So, you know, a memory I'm sure that many around Ballybrown, including myself, will hold dear. A semi-final that played about 5 minutes, quite badly, I must remember, but I was on the bench for the final, and yeah, it was a year of draws, but the one game we didn't draw was after drawing. We drew the city final, we drew the replay, we drew the Junior B Limerick quarter final. We won the replay. We drew the semi final, won the replay, drew the final, won the replay, and drew the Munster semi final, won an extra time. And the one game we didn't draw was against a team from Kerry. So, but anyway, yeah, fond memories indeed. And I remember Shane Kenny's goal fisting into the net from about 2 yards out. That was the difference on the day. So fond memories indeed. Hopefully, Ballylanders will be making their own memories in the next few weeks in that competition.
Tom,
just had to shoehorn it in there.
That he did, Billy Brown did the competition a service in that they broke the Cork Kerry duopoly.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think part of it was we had looked at the Roll of Honour and we kind of laughed and said, sure, we have no chance here. And actually, sometimes when you think you've no chance, you have every chance. And, you know, maybe after 5 minutes against, I think it was Ballinacurra, it was a team from Cork we beat. And I think the fellas realised, you know what, they're no better or no worse than us. So, and I think it was the same in the final. We quickly realised how competitive we would be. So hopefully Ballylanders, as I said, will add to that Roll of Honour in the coming weeks. Matt, we'll move to ladies football.
What about the football acumen of one Mike Mann?
Well, his record is unbroken there now. Like, I mean, we won everything that year, the league and all, so City League and Championship. So, well, in fairness to him, he guided the ship into port.
Mike masterminded the upset of the big two.
Yeah, and
the cozy Kerry cartel.
Yeah. Number of training sessions, the square root of 0, i.e. 0. So worked well anyway, guys, keeping fit in their own time. Matt, ladies football. Yeah, ladies football. Last weekend, a low scoring encounter. Limerick and Wicklow, who, as I said last week, are pretty much familiar foes in across the last few years anyway. Have had a couple of battles in the, I think, league and championship. 1-3-6. You were at it. Was this a fair result? Did Limerick feel a bit shortchanged, or were they happy with the draw? What way do you think it went?
If any team lost it, it was Limerick.
Right.
No, because I thought at one stage it was 2 points each at half time. And I suppose the summary of the game would be, Tom, that it was a game where the teams cancelled each other out.
Yeah. And
it was obvious from very early on that scores were going to be at a premium. Now, Wicklow implied a sweeper. Limerick had the breeze in the first half. You know, and she did some fair cleaning up now, in fairness. You know, and it made it very, very difficult. Now, it looked at halftime 2 points apiece. Whatever breeze there was going to be in Wicklow's favour in the first half. In the second half, Limerick came out, and within 45 seconds, they had the ball in the Wicklow net. Iris Kennelly, who got all 1-3 for Limerick. She was surrounded by players, and somehow who kicked it over her head into the corner of the net. The goalkeeper hadn't a chance. It was very, very well taken. And Limerick appeared to be holding on, and eventually by the 51st minute, which was what, 21 minutes later, Limerick hadn't raised another flag, and Wicklow had got three points, a couple of them from Sinead McEtigan from frees. And immediately when they drew level, Iris Kennelly put Limerick back in front. That was with 8 minutes to go. And it looked as if they were holding out. The defence was absolutely magnificent. Now, they were down a lot of key players. Down, of course, the 2023 Munster Footballer of the Year, Roisin Ambrose. They were down Alva Quaid. They were down those two from the start. And they were hit with a double blow before the game when Cathy Mee, who was the 2018 All-Ireland winning captain, and Yvonne Lee, who is the current vice captain or joint captain, they both had to cry off. Now, Maeve McNamara came in, did very, very well. Joanne Maguire, who was returning to the side, moved in full back. But the defence the defence, Wicklow had the greater share of the play in the second half, as you would expect with whatever breeze there was. But the Limerick defence was incredible. And after Iris Kennelly put him into the lead there in the 52nd minute, they were holding out and doing absolutely excellent, despite Wicklow really, really pushing up. And in the 62nd minute, unfortunately, there was a free given against them, and Sinead McGettigan converted it, and that was the final score of the game, and it ended all square. Point one, no. 2 points lost, probably.
Yeah. It's when you see the score like that, I suppose it's hard to know what way it fell. And I was at the senior football at the men's equivalent at the same time. So, yeah, disappointing maybe that, as you said, 2 points dropped, because obviously in the ladies' side of it, it's 3 points for a win. So the draw doesn't hold as much weight. Now, maybe it'll turn out that draw is a fine result by the shake-up, after all the rounds of games are played. But yeah, maybe just a little bit disappointing, but nevertheless, an unbeaten start. You can flip it as a positive as well. And I think Wicklow are probably one of the stronger teams in it. Certainly, they've proven to be thereabouts in the last 3 years, and obviously have played at the higher grades as well.
I think I mentioned it already, Tom, about the structure of Division 4 this year. Heretofore, it was divided into 2 groups, with the top 2 in each group going forward to the semi-finals. This year, it's all one group, so you have 7 games, 6 of which Limerick will have at home, but with the top 4 going through. So in terms of finishing in the top 4, it may be 2 crucial points gone, but I'm not so sure. I think there are plenty points there and plenty home advantage there for Limerick, to make the top 4. They're back in action this Saturday night at 7:00 in June, when Derry are the visitors. And Derry football, has been struggling for the last number of years. They won a league game last year against struggling Kilkenny, and it was their first league game winning since 2019. But they will be hoping to obviously arrest that. But Limerick will potentially be stronger next week, because it's likely that Cathy Mee and Yvonne Lee will be available, and possibility of Roisin Ambrose and Alva Quaid are both closing in on a return. And if they don't make the Derry game, they probably make the Kilkenny game the following week, or certainly they'll meet the Longford game, which would be 2 weeks afterwards. So I'd be very hopeful that come 9:00 on Saturday night, that Limerick will have 4 points on the board, Tom.
Yeah, and Derry got their campaign off to a losing start, 2-5 they registered, but Carlow with 3-7 getting the better of them, but not a game.
And that was played in Celtic Park in Derry.
Yeah. So home advantage didn't make a count, but yeah, Doon on Saturday 7 p.m. and hopefully a first win of the new season for the ladies. But I hopefully think that draw will matter little in terms of, as you say, there's enough other opportunities for Limerick to win games, particularly with 5 more home games to come as well, following on from that one in last weekend. Matt, switching over towards Camogie, just received an email since we started, would you believe, with the details of the minor Camogie. We're just looking back last week though, Matt, we didn't have the squad to hand it subsequently, in fairness to Emer Kenny, the PRO. She's a fantastic volunteer with Limerick Camogie, and we do forget at times that these people are volunteers. She got the team out to us eventually, and there was some familiar names on it. They played Clare last weekend in Cappamore, and they got the better of the banner, which we were talking about beating Clare in other codes. We've beaten them in hurling, we've beaten them in Camogie. That's 2 for 2 match. We're going well.
Yeah, I suppose there's a certain element in Limerick, will want Clare to hate the sight of the Limerick jersey. They probably hate it anyway, but Yeah,
it's but good for them to get off the mark. Now, the picture I have to hand here is the semi-final against Waterford in Waterford. So they're on the road this weekend. It's on this Saturday, the 20th of January, 1:30 p.m. in the SETU arena, which Waterford IT, as people may have known it as. That's where it's on, Munster semi-final, and I suppose it's it's a very quick turnaround, Matt, early in the year, and they could book a Munster final place before the end of January. That would be a fantastic start to the year.
It would be. Like we weren't sure of the makeup of the squad last week, but I was pretty sure of a share of them because I had seen a number of their games last year, including the 2 games that they played against Clare. They played Clare in the group stages. They played Clare in successive weeks last year, Tom. They played Clare and they beat them in Kilmallock in the final game of the group stages, which set up a semi-final the following week with Clare and Clonmel.
Yeah.
And they beat him again. I was pretty sure of some of the players that were eligible again this year. There were 4 players that started that was in the All Ireland. The second game was the All Ireland under 16 A Shield semi-final. There was 4 players that Roisin O'Brien, Donna Kenny, Ciara Buckley, and Poppy Giltinan. Now, Kate Foley, who played that day, is also eligible, but she must be injured because she was named on the panel last Sunday, but she didn't take part. But there was a whole raft of players that were on the panel that last year, named as subs, and they all they're eligible again this year. So there's quite an amount of experience in Paul Neenan and Tony Dunn's panel, but they've got off to the perfect start now. They got off to a very, very bright start, but Clare clawed them back. They had 3 points on the board before Clare got any score. So, and they led by 5 points to 4 at half time, and Clare took the lead with about 10 minutes to go. They went 1-7 to 1-6 up, and Limerick had the last 4 points to win the game. So now Waterford will be probably much tougher, Tom, because Camogie is on a high in Waterford, and they're getting a spin-off from reaching their first All-Ireland since the 1950s at senior level last year. Now, I know it was a day to forget, when Amy O'Connor scored 3-7 alone, but...
Nevertheless,
look, the important thing is we're getting wins, and we're preparing for the All Ireland Shield, All Ireland A Shield, which means that we're in the top 12 teams in the country, And last year we were certainly in the top 8, possibly higher even.
Matt, is that to suggest Limerick aren't going to contest for is the Shield considered the top competition, the top number 1 prize?
No. It's the championship and the shield.
Right. So are Limerick going to be contesting for the championship? I'm not aware now of this or not.
No. It's the championship and the shield.
Okay. All right. So the shield is separate.
It could be called the B championship, but it's called the A shield.
Yeah. I have Yeah. So an opportunity anyway to try and get another win. Yeah, but good spread of clubs as well, Matt.
But look, Tom, things at underage level are promising. We won the under 16A championship for the first time last year, and it's coming together now. And the senior panel has been announced.
Yeah, just coming to that. Yeah.
And it's Joe Quaid's first panel since his second coming. And very, very interesting to see Sarah Carey.
Yeah,
back.
That's the headline maker, I suppose, isn't it?
Absolutely fantastic. Great to see Rebecca DeLee, Myrne Kramer back from injury. Niamh Ryan back from travelling. It's a very, very strong team. Now, there are a number of young players that are getting their, that are in the squad for the first time, and it'll be interesting to see if they will break into the team. Now, a very, very notable absentee, of course, is Claire Keating, who was the star forward last year. Now, Claire has gone travelling, and is there doubts about Laura O'Neill?
Yeah, it's confirmed that she's not in the panel at the moment, and it doesn't look like she's been in it all this year. So I suppose she had recovered from, I think, a long-term shoulder injury and came back last couple of years.
She did very, very well last year, when she came back, Claire Keating, who had been out for a couple of years, when Laura went out, Claire came back into goal. And then when Laura came back, Claire went out the field. Very, very, very successful. She was a scoring machine up in the forwards, and Claire, a very, very experienced player, is going to be a huge loss. But look, to have the like of Sarah Carey back is fantastic. Like, Sarah had a wonderful club career with Granabel and Gary, won a number of county senior medals, and I was talking to her over Christmas and just before Christmas, was absolutely delighted to go back and help Patrick Swell win the junior championship last year. And they will move up intermediate this year, and they have added to their ranks Teresa Dorr. Teresa, who was playing with Charleville up to now, and who I thought was really, really coming through last year as a very, very good player. So she's going to be a big asset to the Well now, So, and I think you mentioned to me before that Niamh Ryan has switched allegiance from Bruff to St. Elby's.
Yeah, and obviously we've
St. Elby's are making strides in Camogie, make no mistake about it. And obviously she has given long service to St. Elby's ladies football team.
And she's, in fairness,
Niamh is a big addition to be back on the Limerick team. It's great to see her back. And Murden Kramer is back, Rebecca DeLee, these are big players. Tis only when you sit down and analyse it like we're doing now that you realise the loss these were last year.
Yeah, and the last couple of years in some
cases. No, my understanding is that Karen O'Leary, Debbie Murphy and Roisin Ambrose are going to dedicate themselves to football. And in this day and age, Tom, I suppose the place at the Jewel Star, it's nearly a thing of the past.
I think it's gone from the men's game. I effectively, bar the odd outlier, in maybe in a third tier hurling county in a Sam Maguire football team, but even then, it's just not feasible, is it? Like, these teams are out if they're not playing competitive games, Matt, they're at training camps or they're involved in other playing challenge matches or whatever, preparing themselves, team meetings, everything, and it's no different in Camogie and ladies football. I think I personally understand the issue where players say, well, their fixtures clash, that's not great, but it's been an issue in Cork, for example, where players have had to travel, and now, without really opening that can of worms, I part of me says, well, unfortunately, there is so many more games now. There's no more straight knockouts. There's league formats. There's group formats. Players, unfortunately, will have to pick and choose which one they would like to play for their county, if, of course, they have that luxury. I think, and look, we may see, as I say, players in Limerick doing it again, but I think they're under serious pressure for it to be maybe allowed and to be feasible, to be dedicated to both panels. It's difficult. And the standards have risen of training and everything else and what's expected of players. So that's probably the big, it isn't just a case of I'll play this week with one and then swap to the other. It's not as simple as that. There's way more preparation now, I think, in gone into teams. So coaches want players to be available, for them exclusively, almost,
Like you had the ridiculous situation in last year. I think Hannah Looney played a Camogie match in Cork early in the day and made a mad dash up to Galway for a ladies' football match. This thing is not feasible. And I suppose you're asking an awful lot if you're asking the respective authorities, to make provision for it. Because certainly, as you said there, it's practically gone out of the men's game and it's still a minority in the ladies' game. So, I think those that are making the choice, I think they're making the right choice, I think, because it's you can't serve two masters. It's as simple as that.
No, definitely not. And it certainly, I don't believe would be good for anyone's body to be, dashing from match to match or training to training, just to be there, and and the stress of that alone, I think, not to mind the physical, toll on people's bodies could add up to it. And look, hopefully the ladies have success, the ones that have selected just football, and maybe there'll be a bit of joy with the Camogie. Hopefully, a good league campaign awaits. But Matt, just the final one on that. Actually, we were talking about the goalkeeper there. Obviously, Claire Keating. Himself and Laura O'Neill kind of swapped the role there over and back through injuries and various different things. But what it means now is, I think we'll have a rookie goalkeeper at this level, if I want to use that word. I think you've looking at the list, you've Kieran McQueen of Cork is a goalkeeper, and looking at the list, I think Gemma Barrett of Killeedy might be another option there. Now, obviously, it probably helps when Limerick have a manager that's obviously esteemed goalkeeping things, but it's presents a new opportunity and a new a change of tact, maybe, I suppose, in terms of the goalkeeper, such an important position.
Absolutely, yeah, no doubt. But it's a very, very important position, and like we've been served with good goalkeepers, going all the way back, back through the years. Like in recent years, you've had Sheila Moynihan, Laura O'Neill, Claire Keating, and the unfortunate thing is that Claire would probably be the obvious choice if were she still available on the panel, because she had a great year between the sticks the year before last, in 2021 or 2022. The year she came back when Laura got injured. 2022, I would imagine. 22,
yeah. Definitely, yeah. But I suppose it's exciting for whoever it is will get the number 1 jersey, and it's a great opportunity for them. And I'm sure that whoever it will be has had to bide their time in the background, I suppose, and earn their stripes. So hopefully it'll be a good season for that new player between the sticks. Matt, I think we've covered all the Anfield stuff, and one other topic, I think, and we were talking about Cork a bit during this podcast. We were talking about a bit last week. One other thing I want to put to you, Matt, before we finish up, the naming rights of stadiums, and obviously Cork are all over the news this week because Páirc Uí Chaoimh was effectively going to be dropped, and I don't know, has there been a U-turn just yet? But SuperValu Park doesn't have the greatest ring of it in the world to me. I'm not against the naming rights of stadiums being sold for money, because obviously that money can be reinvested. But did Cork score a bit of an own goal with their own people here by effectively changing the entire name of the stadium?
I think so, and I must say I'm a SuperValu shopper in the main. Just being honest about it, but I think it's outrageous. Like if you look at grounds around the country, they what they do is whoever the sponsor is comes in, adopts the name that was there, and we look. Netwatch Cullen Park in Carlow is a classic example of it.
Kingspan Breffni previously as well, yeah. Kingspan
Breffni, like I'm told there's up to double figures of them around the country, and I can't see why.
We've won in our own county. Formerly the LIT Gaelic grounds became Toots Gaelic grounds, and whether you use it or not, the fact that the original stadium name is still there does not hit as hard as completely, I think Thomond Park, I came up a few years ago to Thomond Park, we're going to sell the rights, and it was outrage because people said, well, it won't be called Thomond Park anymore, but it has to be more subtle, I think, than what Cork did.
Oh yeah, and with the Aviva Stadium as well, I found it very, very hard. There's one, that, as you know, I have a great affinity for rugby. To me, it was always Lansdowne Road, and Musgrave Park was always Musgrave Park. It's still Musgrave Park now, but it's going to be Virgin Media Musgrave Park now, I think. It was Independent Park for a long time. Couldn't get my head around it. It was always Musgrave Park, that type of thing. And Limerick is an example of it, like TUS Gaelic grounds. There's no reason why it won't be called SuperValu Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Billy Morgan was very strong out about it today, and I think there's going to be a lot of soul searching in Cork in this, I think it may, as you referenced there, Tom, I don't think it may have been handled very well. And what it has done now, of course, is that when there was no decision made the other night, it gives delegates an opportunity to go back into their clubs. And it would appear, and I was around parts of County Cork today, and they just mentioned it in a couple of places, and there's a feeling. The feeling is building up against the change in name at this stage. So I think all the pointers there are towards a compromise, and the compromise being SuperValu Party Cave. It to me, as somebody that remembers Padraig O'Keefe, but barely, but I've read quite a bit about him. He was a Roscommon man, of course.
Yeah, but adopted as Cork man, I believe, was he? I don't know an awful lot about him.
He was very much an adopted Cork man, and he was the founder of Nemo Rangers Football Club.
Right. And
but he, as General Secretary of the association, created the environment that led to an awful lot of clubs sprouting up all over the country. He was a man of vision, made huge contribution to Cork, made huge contribution to the association, and to me it is preposterous that his name should be dropped.
Yeah, no, I'd agree, and I don't know I don't know how they didn't see this coming. I know it's easy for us to say now. He's sitting there a few days after there's a bit of outrage, but I even know if the Gaelic Rounds was to be entirely branded by something, whatever it may be, I know that the Limerick public wouldn't sit for it. And I know the Gaelic Rounds name is just a generic name in its own right, but even though it's just the Gaelic Rounds, people still know exactly where you're talking about,
Absolutely.
and they know it has an association with that name forever, and you can't just rip up the script. Look, there's so many historic stadiums that their names may not, even in Limerick, the Markets Field, it's just two words put together, but that name has so much history attached to it that if you were to rebrand that, or the same as the Gaelic Rounds, as say, it's just not as simple as that. And I think Cork GA obviously have snookered themselves with the debt of Páirc Uí Chaoimh Stadium, that they have, I think they've scored a few own goals on it now. Obviously, this is one. They do need the money, and I don't deny them that, and it's a good way of getting it. But they've also had given away home advantage in some games in order to stage concerts because they're more lucrative financially. So they'd want to be careful about eroding that connection to the public, because eventually people will say, well, this association isn't for me, or this county board isn't serving my interest in terms of GA. So I think that they'd be wise now to take a couple of steps back and have a look at where they're heading.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the compromise at the end will be SuperValu Páirc Uí Chaoimh. The controversy isn't going to do SuperValu any good either.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, although they say there's no such thing as bad publicity, but I think some people will take issue with effectively SuperValu associated with Cork already. That it effectively they'd come in and kind of write over history as you put it. But anyway, that's that for this week. For this week's kind of final topic, and hopefully there'll be no more Cork controversy next week. Hopefully it'll be all straightforward when Limerick meet them on the pitch on Sunday afternoon, and hopefully that game does go ahead, and we have some confirmation of that Munster Hurling League and beyond, and hopefully, of course, across Camogie with the minor Camogie in action, and indeed ladies football, we have some more green shoots for Limerick, and indeed in the Junior B Hurling and Football Championships. But that's all we will have this week. We'll see you very, very soon.